Hello again, it's Jason Godby from No Rest for the Weekend alongside Danny Mendez, and we just saw Captain America Brave New World. Going into this film, on a scale of 1 to 5, how psyched were you to see it?
3 out of 5 maybe. I mean, it's kind of hard when you have the original Captain America, Chris Evans. It's kind of iconic at this point.
Yeah.
It's like Michael Keaton as Batman at this point.
Or Christopher Reeve as Superman.
Christopher Reeve as Superman. How do you top that? Which is not an easy task, but I mean, if we're gonna get a brief thought, I mean, Anthony Mackie's pretty good.
Anthony Mackie is like a charisma machine. I do feel like there's a lot of acting and posing happening. It almost feels like he's overcompensating a little bit. You know, it doesn't seem to come
Natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of that, I think, is the script, which is a little corny at times.
I was rolling my eyes maybe
There were a
handful of times.
couple of lines where you're just like, oh man. We don't want to give too much away. We just saw this. The movie. So Captain America has handed the shield to Sam Wilson. We saw the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and that's really where he sort of evolves. That's him getting the suit, him getting more into the role of Captain America.
Into his own as Captain America.
And at this point, when we see him here, he is Captain America. He's like, he's Captain America to the world. People know who he is. They're buying him drinks, and he's famous. Joaquin Torres, the character who was briefly in Falcon and Winter Soldier, the series, he sort of evolves into the new Falcon, so they're partners, and they have really good chemistry.
Young and experienced, but excited to learn and to do the hero stuff. I'm probably going to say that Harrison Ford was my favorite.
Harrison Ford is Harrison Ford, and he's great. And he's actually, there has been some criticism of Ford not really giving it his all in his later
That's why it's so fun, because you can tell he's kind of bored, but
yeah,
it's just fun to see Harrison Ford in a movie. A movie like this, I mean, if you're going to get somebody to replace William Hurt, why not go for Harrison?
Yeah, I mean, like, they really got a movie star for this role.
And it seems kind of fitting to get Harrison Ford for a movie like this because he's been in stuff like Clear and Present Danger.
He's been the president
political
before.
Thrillers, Air Force One. This is right up his alley.
Yeah, and he does feel presidential, like he does feel like a president. We knew from the teaser that we were going to get Red Hulk. It's not a spoiler. Kind of wish they didn't spoil it. Like, it would have been great if we didn't see that in the trailer, but I guess they had to put something in the trailer. So I had interviewed Tim Blake Nelson about his role in this film when he was at Tribeca last year. He was very coy about what you'll see with Samuel Stearns, and I think he delivers in this film.
He's good. With what he has, I think he's phenomenal. I just don't think the script does right by him.
You think he's a little underwritten?
Underwritten, a little underused.
Bad
maybe.
guy wants revenge.
Generic motivation.
Yeah.
But I mean, Tim Blake Nelson is such a good actor that even with a bit part like that, he does make the most of it.
He's got some gravitas.
You need gravitas in a role like this, no matter how big or small it is.
I do feel like one of the things that was kind of missing in this was nobody really has superpowers. You don't get to see the big moments that you do in the other Marvel. There's no, Thor coming down from the sky, and there's no,
I think that's also kind of the charm, even from the original Captain America movies. I know, granted, Steve Rogers had the super soldier serum, but he still...
But he punches and kicks.
Punches and kicks. He has no particularly standout superpower other than super strength, super speed, agility.
Yeah. I think Mackie does a really good job. Although, I will say, there are some things in this movie where you're like, how is he just not a bag of bones and blood at this point? Like,
100%.
Like, I don't know what kind of suit
There's
he's
a
wearing.
lot of suspension of disbelief that you need to have prior to seeing this.
There's some pretty good destruction in it, and you're just like, he's mush. Like, his body is the consistency of toothpaste right now.
Which also kind of, without getting into too many spoilers, but the final act feels very lackluster, partially because of the fact that how does a guy like
how does
Sam take on?
Yeah, how do you have a guy like that?
And it resolves itself in a way that's not, I would say, anticlimactic maybe.
I don't think it's anticlimactic, but it does feel like it's trying really hard. And I feel like the movie as a whole kind of feels like it's trying really hard. And I feel bad in a way for some of the actors in this thing because they are they're living in the shadows of their predecessors. It does have the Marvel movie problem of you had to do some homework before you saw it. Like if you saw this movie and you hadn't seen Falcon and Winter Soldier,
which I haven't.
You haven't seen that,
No.
so there is some setting up in this. Don't know how necessary it is for this movie. Isaiah Bradley is in this. You really get his backstory. They do touch on it. They do give you a little bit of a refresher in this film. There is an introduction made where he explains his backstory in a very awkward way, but I guess they had to shoehorn it in there somehow. There was a big set piece that does relate to Eternals.
I thought that was fun. Probably my favorite.
Yeah, there was a lot going on there. Although, in terms of the suspension of disbelief, you're like, all right, how are these guys still alive? How are they doing these things if they're
Nothing
not actually...
but a scratch, which is hard to believe.
Yeah, it's like, you know, these guys are mush right now. We do get Giancarlo Esposito. He's fantastic. He's a baddie in this, and he's a total badass.
He's great.
He's terrific at everything.
Speaking of gravitas,
yeah, that guy.
He's the definition of gravitas.
He really, like, he lends the script a lot of gravitas. Harrison Ford really brings the gravitas in terms of that. It's just hard, man. Like, when you think about the previous Marvel experiences that you had, you know, and I'm not going to get into a ranking or anything, but I feel like this movie is okay.
Yeah. I don't know if disposable is too strong a word.
It's terrible, but
I mean,
like, did we need this movie?
Exactly.
Did we, you know,
it's serviceable, but I don't think it's a movie you probably wouldn't rewatch. It's not, if you're going to compare it to another Marvel movie, it would probably be The Winter Soldier, which is kind of
that's kind of the gold standard, though, for these movies. It is the gold
standard for all of them.
This ain't that. Well, we paid to see this one. This was not a preview screening or anything like that. I went out basically to do this review. I was about a 2 or 3 on my scale of 1 to 5 in terms of hype to see this movie. Is this worth spending your hard-earned money going out to the movies to see it?
If you have Disney Plus, just wait for it to come out on Disney Plus, I would say. Listen, if you want a nice date night out,
I don't know. It's not a mess. It's not awful. It's not.
It's literally right in the middle.
Give me like your overall impression of now. You dig horror movies.
Absolutely.
So you are a fan of this stuff.
I am.
How did it strike you as a horror fan?
As a horror fan, it is 100% on. It's the fateful Cinderella story, told from the point of view of the eldest stepsister, and it's Cinderella with body horror. Now, I'm not spoiling anything when I tell you this, because frankly, you need to be prepared.
I mean, it's all there in the trailer. Like
it's
not all there in the trailer.
It's not all there in the
definitely
trailer.
intimated in the trailer.
It absolutely is. And it's not one of those things where you see in the trailer and then you watch the movie and go, oh, no, they give it to you straight. And as a matter of fact, which I found rather fascinating, I think maybe because you don't expect this from female horror, female filmmakers, in that she went in, the writer director, she went in on some of the effects to the point that some of the scenes, and this isn't a jump cut horror movie. This is by no means
so she's leaving the camera rolling.
She leaves the camera. She through dialogue prepares you for what they're going to do, then sets you up for the 1-2 thing, and then goes in. The camera does not flinch. As a matter of fact, there are extreme close-ups that are amazing, especially if you're a horror fan, especially if you're an effects fan. You will study this like amazing. And like I said, no jump cuts. But it is a nerve-wrenching, stomach-churning, and you'll see what I mean by that. Like,
she cited Cronenberg as a reference.
Absolutely.
And Argento.
Absolutely.
Did you get that? You got that vibe?
Definitely. She does some great, her set design and her location managers need to be applauded, because they went and found locations that I swear were stolen from Hammer Studios. They look like they were shot at Hammer Studios.
Like the old Dracula and the Gothic horror type stuff.
Yes. Oh,
Do you know where they shot this movie?
Norway.
In Norway. Okay.
This is a Norwegian production. It looks authentic, and it also what's interesting about the look in that she doesn't present any particular time. You know that it's maybe 17th century, 18th century, something to that effect, but they don't hold you or hold her, the story to any one particular time. So it's sort of a very much a fairy tale without going in too hard on the fairy tale.
It's got that sort of like otherworldly, mythic. Well, it's probably easier to do that in Norway than like here because we just don't have those places in America. Like we don't have a lot of castles and stuff.
No, yeah. I think for a lot of that stuff, a lot of the American filmmakers tend to go to. Bulgaria.
They'll go to England or something. Yeah,
sort of stuff. Yeah, that's what they're doing now. Even to the point of the actresses. I don't know. I don't recognize any of them personally.
Are they all
they're
like
from,
Norwegian accent? Yeah. And are they all? Is this movie in English or is it in?
It's in subtitles.
Oh, so it's in Norwegian.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's in its original language. It's in subtitles. Very much leans into the Grimm's fairy tale idea that this is the approach. But what she's doing, you've not seen or read before, because she's going in on stuff that is also not so fantastic, in that maybe some of this stuff wasn't close to being done on actual women of the time, which is another great thing about this movie, in that it goes into the places that women, the resources that women had at the time, and how much they had, and yet how little choices there were. And so you get the point of view of the older sister who's trying to reach the prince that she's in love with. And I want to shout out the actor that plays Prince Julian, because and you should look him up in the movie, not necessarily the actor. In the movie, this guy is the epitome of Prince Charming. I've never seen an actor look better, more accurate.
He looks like a Disney prince.
He looks like what they draw. He's dead on his whole approach and everything. Very much like straight out of the cartoon.
I've heard he looks like a combination of like Disney Prince and Jean-Paul Belmondo.
Yes. All of the actors are Elvira, her sister Alma, who's a very interesting character in that a lot of the female gaze that's sort of like approached in the film touches all of the actresses in different ways.
Is there a point of view character? Is it told from one person's point of view?
It's told from Elvira, which is challenging because she's not a likable character a lot of the times, but the director, the writer does a great job at showing you how sometimes there are in life, no matter how much effort you put into something that you want, if there's someone that just looks a little better than you, it's kind of an odd, thing to approach.
Well, it's like that old theme of like women being pitted against each other,
yes, and
always in competition.
Yes.
And she's trying to. I mean, she's showing you that through this like sort of fairy tale horror.
Right.
But this is when she talked in the Q&A, it was like this stuff still persists today, and people still have body dysmorphia, and they still have all these. People still go through the extreme efforts to try to look beautiful to satisfy who, like who are they doing this for? Like, is it for other women? Is it for men? Is it a status thing? It really kind of like, there's a lot of questions I think she's proposing here.
In the movie, all of those questions, it turns out is yes to all of the questions. They all have something to do with her point of view as far as what I need to do to get to the prince. She's obsessed with this Julian, Prince Julian. She has to be with Prince Julian. Whether it be because her family is destitute or what, it's like I said, it's very much like the original Cinderella. And at some point, she, with the help of her mother, goes through a series of, some would say, operations. I would say trials.
Like mutilations, basically.
Mutilation, yes. I would Herculean level trials. I heard audible gasps. I heard just the sounds of people. The building up of worry, of dread. I heard one man next to me coughing, like hard. And at one point at the end, the final scene, or the final, the climax, one woman gagged.
Really?
Audibly gagged, but caught herself. She I could hear her say, "No, no."
Wow. Well, for some people that is going to be a hard yes. For people like me, it's going to be a hard no.
It's an incredible watch.
For all the reasons you just recommended, I don't want to see it. But yes. I get it. There are people who are into that, and it sounds like this is for them. Yasin, you just saw Until Dawn. You did a brief reaction video and wrote a review for the blog. But let's get into it.
Okay.
So you had mentioned that the film ends, but there's a little bit of a ... and you felt like there were building blocks for like a potential franchise. Did you feel like it's like a sort of a subliminal wink to the audience saying, hey, this is going to set up some stuff?
Yes. Unfortunately, the way that it's set up, it's more than just a wink. It's a full-on blink. Wave your hands. Look over here.
Giant signs that say we're going to set up a franchise.
The problem, as usual, is that the movie wasn't given enough. You wasn't given enough in the movie. You were as a horror fan, you were given some decent scenes, some decent kills. For the gamer who had played the game, because it is based on a video game and a popular video game, I can't see the gamers being that into the movie, because it's very basic at fan service. It throws in stuff. I mean, and you'll see it. Here's the story, just to recap the story. There are 5 young adults who are going across country, who are tracing the steps of the missing lead's sister. And we finally get to a town, and in the small town, we have our favorite actor, one of our favorite actors, Peter Stormare. He starts off as a shopkeeper. So we see, and we figure, here's a nice little cameo. Turns out he's got a full part in it. He plays the original part that he does in the game, who is the character Dr. Hill, and he's in charge of the asylum that was in the town that, for whatever reason, decided that they were going to practice fracking in the town. They were going to do some sort of drilling.
Wait, is it not near the town, but in the town?
It has to be in the town because the entire town sinks.
Oh.
They do such extreme drilling that the entire town sinks, almost like a story, almost like a couple of feet.
Wow.
So that the first floor of everybody's home is underground.
Theme-wise, thematically, besides scares and kills and stuff, is this thematically an environmental, sort of a morality tale about the environment, or a warning?
That would have been interesting. That would have been interesting.
It would have.
Except that the fracking in the town is a plot device to keep this story moving. And the story being that when they reach this town, first of all, the town isn't there when they get there. When they arrive to the place that they think that the house that they think she was staying in or staying at is in the middle of nowhere. except that it's in the eye of a storm. There's a rainstorm they have to go through to get to the house. When they get to the house, it turns out they're in the eye of it. There's no rain. And they're in there searching. They find nothing really. Or at some point, one of the young adults finds a wall of missing photos. And they're all random pictures of different people that they've never seen before, until they go through all the pictures and find that one of the missing pictures is, wait for it, the missing sister. Sun goes down, and
this is when everything starts.
This is when everything starts. And when I mean everything,
Right.
I mean the weird hourglass, the skull-adorned hourglass that's
like you
in the
have
house.
in your house.
Like every house has.
Everybody should have a grandfather clock.
Everybody.
And a skull
fireplace
hourglass.
and the hourglass with this like gold skull.
All
on
right,
it.
I'm with you.
It turns over, and the night begins. A clown-faced, hulking serial killer comes out and is, out to kill everyone. Before the night is done, all 5 are killed. And then the night begins again.
Right, so this is the plot device. This is like sort of the Groundhog Day, Happy Death Day kind of device that happens. But what I'm curious about is, so you've got your group of friends who are looking for this girl. Now, after they are killed in the house, do they then see the other missing people who are also killed, and that they're reliving the night over and over again?
No. Not exactly.
But do they get
They
closer?
they don't, and they do. Over those nights, they see themselves transforming. Like they're starting to get different bruises. They're starting to their hair is starting to fall out, and it seems as if that they are transforming into something else. And along the way of the movie, one of the sets of monsters that you come up against are the zombies, who you don't know where, they're not told where they're from. We all suspect that these are the missing. Once you realize,
I get it. Okay.
Once you realize that the 5 are transforming, then you start to piece together that these zombies must be from the missing group. And as the story goes on, Peter Stormare sort of breaks down in his exposition and talks about, this is where it really just goes off the rails, a whole sort of...
But that sounds interesting, though. That's kind of an interesting premise, right? So you have these people, they go missing.
Yeah.
Then the house starts, killing people.
Right.
And then you find out that the missing people are actually sort of being recycled or transforming into
Yes.
the undead
Right.
force that's also contributing to killing more people.
Yes.
Okay, so, I mean, it sounds awful in terms of a situation.
Yes.
Are our heroes, like, do they figure this out? Does Peter Stormare tell them?
At some point, Peter Stormare has to just sort of break down and tell you what is happening, because...
It's like a big monologue, and he's like, everybody got that?
Yeah. At some point, he just goes into how they're trying to recreate the Wendigo, who is a mythical beast, I want to say American mythology, mythological beast. And there have been different versions of the Wendigo on film. So if you have an idea of what you think the Wendigo is going to look like, just forget it. It's not. For some reason that to be fair, I may have missed. This has to happen. If there's no, like, I'm going to take over the world with them, I'm experimenting on them to
You're not
further
given
a medical...
like a real purpose for, it's just, we're going to do this and we don't...
It's happening,
Right.
and I can't stop it, so I'm just going to monitor it and keep it going.
And is this kind of where you felt like, all right, they're setting this creature thing up, and then that's going to be the sequel? That's going to, we're going to make the monster is going to be the thing that's going to come back in Until Dawn 2.
By the time I got to that point, I was trying to figure out what is the point of the whole thing. Like, what is he doing with this? is not very clear as to why it has to happen. When did it? There's plenty of questions to be answered in a sequel, and mind you, in order to explore some of these other monsters, it would have taken more time, like 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes, 20 more minutes. I'm not sure the movie had it to do that. So
like there wasn't enough there wasn't enough movie to sustain that much mystery. So in the end, does it kind of like leave you wanting more and you're like, I have to see Until Dawn 2? Or is it like, yeah, fine, maybe I don't, if they do it Until Dawn 2, maybe I don't need to see it.
Yeah, I think hardcore Until Dawn fans will be willing to see what they do afterwards.
Hello again, it's Jason Godby from No Rest for the Weekend alongside Eric McClanahan, and we just saw the Thunderbolts.
Asterisk.
So, first impressions.
I loved it. I had a great time with the film. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it had heart. I thought it had a lot more emotional character depth than some of the outings we've seen in the recent past, and I would recommend it.
I liked it. It wasn't.
You did that thing with your voice. I liked it. I liked it, maybe.
Okay.
Tell the truth.
I have mixed feelings about it, all right? So it got weird at one point. And I will say that it was not what I expected. That's where I'm going to go with that. As my first impression was, I thought it was going to be sort of more standard superhero fare, where a ragtag bunch of, anti-heroes go up against the big bad and somehow win. But then, yeah, it got weird. Without spoiling it, because I'm going to try to do a non-spoiler review, tell people what you thought the plot was.
So, if you've seen the trailers, which hopefully you have, you're interested in the film already, you know that the titular Thunderbolts have been lured to a trap by Valentina Allegra de Fontaine to eliminate one another. They break out of that trap, join forces, and go to confront her, but at the same time, they are also confronted by a weapon she's created, which is the flying man you see in the sky. And hilarity and hijinks ensue.
So it's a lot of movie. I'm glad it wasn't 3 hours long. That, to me, like, some of these big extravaganzas are just, like, too much. So I did appreciate that it was tight. I was kind of shocked to see how much of it was in one location in the beginning.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
When you talk about that, there are a lot of unexpected things in this film. I think that's one of its strengths. I think the last couple of films that have come out from Marvel have been very by the numbers and very expected. Even the forgettable ones, like we expected what we got, so it didn't sear anything into memory. Like, I would give you a $100 bill right now if you can tell me the villain of the movie The Marvels.
I got nothing.
Precisely.
I got nothing.
This movie has memorable characters and some emotional development. We grow along with them, and it actually feels like it does push the entire narrative forward, which some of the other films in recent memory have not done.
How much homework do you feel like you needed to have watching this movie? Like, because that's one of my concerns about the Marvel movies in general is that they do feel like they give you like a homework assignment, and you're like, well, am I caught up on the reading to see this?
That's a very fair question. I had seen everything prior that one needs to see prior to this. And if you're caught up with the Marvel Universe, you think you can go into this with no issues. But I will admit, I did feel a gap of knowledge in terms of how Ghost's power set works and how she began. I hadn't watched Ant-Man and the Wasp in a really long time. That film came out quite some time ago, and that was her first and only appearance prior to this. And when they were talking about when they were sharing their sob stories of their youths, she mentioned something about her childhood, and I'm like, did I know that? Did we know that? So I would suggest, if you would like a refresher, I think Black Widow is recent enough that we know enough about Yelena and Taskmaster and Red Guardian. Falcon and the Winter Soldier television series told us pretty much everything we need to know about John Walker. But I would suggest going back and seeing Ant-Man and the Wasp, because that's probably the furthest they pull back from. And I would suggest a refresher on that.
I tried to really go as unspoiled into this thing as possible. and I kept hearing people saying disjointed, or like it felt like it was put together in reshoots, and I didn't feel that at all.
No, it seemed very cohesive. Again, a couple of core locations which really allow the actors to explore their characters and allows the story to unfold organically. And then, there was your big third act action piece, but again, they kind of turned that on its head a little bit with, as you said, sort of an Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind kind of moment. So unconventional, but disjointed, I would not use that word for this now.
I got to say, though, Florence Pugh carries a lot of this movie on her shoulders.
Yeah, it is Yelena Belova's movie, most certainly. I mean, she's the first character we see when the film starts. Her emotional arc carries the whole film through. She's the clear standout amongst the Thunderbolts in terms of sincerity. You've got Red Guardian for heart and exuberance, but for sincerity and soul, yeah, definitely Florence Pugh is Yelena.
I like David Harbour a lot. I thought he's just having a ball in that part, man. He just really loves putting on the big red suit and the Russian accent, and he's just having all kinds of fun.
As the credits were rolling and we were waiting for more afterwards, I did find myself thinking, I'm like, this team is very lopsided because there are 3 super soldiers on the team. Like, it's a bit like it's a hat on a hat on a hat,
Well, I mean, what else are you going to do, though? Like, everybody's gone. Like, we don't have the Hulk, we don't have Thor, we don't have a tech genius Iron Man. So it is a little samesies, and you're kind of wondering, like, okay, so we got Thunderbolts / well, I won't say, but the Thunderbolts asterisk versus, because we got a hint that Sam Wilson was going to put together an Avengers team from Captain America. So is it going to be like a versus kind of thing? And what characters are left?
Well, and that's what's funny because, they do talk about the fact that, Captain America has the moniker Avengers and he has his team. So where do the Thunderbolts fit? But again, a Captain America. Like, now we've got 4 Captain Americas running around. It's becoming so homogenized. Like, now I'm kind of, I want to go back to space. I want, green and purple people.
It's not self-contained. You do have a little homework to do, and then there's some things beyond, which we won't spoil, that are hinted at, as far as things to come. But overall, I think it stands on its own as a movie. Like, I don't feel like it's just table setting, where I felt Captain America was maybe a little bit more table setting.
Yeah, Captain America Brave New World I thought was episodic and didn't really stand alone.
It felt like a Disney Plus show.
Yeah, it felt performative. But again, it did push the narrative forward a little bit. Such a little bit. This film, I think, is redemptive for Marvel.
Yeah, so I think, in terms of, did I like it better than Captain America? I thought it was a lot more interesting than Captain America. I thought of the 2, I would watch this one again.
Same. I think, like, the action combat in this is better. I think the stakes are higher. Which is weird to say because the stakes in Captain America Brave New World were World War III, but I think because we care more about the characters, the stakes were higher.
Yeah. And I feel, like I said, man, I think Florence Pugh is doing a lot because, she's not just another Scarlett Johansson, she's not a copy, she's not Black Widow 2.0, so she does have her own backstory, similar, obviously, but we get to see a little bit more of her, and there's just so much going on with her performance that, it's like you feel these touching moments in the middle of this superhero extravaganza. And I think David Harbour does a lot for that too, because they have a history. I don't know how much people are going to care about Ghost, because we haven't seen her in years at this point. Are people going to care about John Walker? Are they going to care about, these other people? I do know that people love Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. And
you get some bang for your Bucky.
Yeah.
Some Bucky for your buck.
Okay, so one of the highlights, I won't spoil it, but one of the highlights of the film is his entrance into the movie. Not his first entrance, but it's sort of the action entrance. Yeah. That is the most badass thing. Like, he owns it too, man. He's awesome. Like, man, like the 13-year-old boy in me was squealing when I saw that. It was so cool.
I actually heard a set story that Wyatt Russell like channeled his 13-year-old boy. They were shooting one of the scenes, and when he crests over the hill, he goes, "Bucky!" And they had to stop rolling and be like, "Can you say that a little differently?" Yeah, it's good. It's
You'd be a tad bit more manly super soldier man. You're not just fanboy all over the place in the back of the truck. But yeah, I thought there was a lot of good humor in it too. It's that Marvel quippy humor, but
it didn't feel as forced this time. Like I think some of the more recent films, the humor has felt like
they got a comedy writer in to come in.
Pretty much, yeah, like outsourced, and they're like, hey, like they got a script doctor just
yeah, we need to amp this up.
Sprinkled jokes in there. And this one felt a lot more organic. This felt more like, Phase 2 Marvel. So yeah. I
also felt that the comedy came from the characters and wasn't just like everybody's got to be quippy, because right. I felt like for instance, like Doctor Strange. To me, it felt that humor in that movie feels so forced because they're trying to make him a wise ass, but he's just not. And it feels weird every time he tries to crack a joke. In this, the jokes come from the situation and they come from the characters, and they do. They seem more sincere.
Yeah, it does seem a lot more authentic. I know with Doctor Strange, he's a superior intellect, so he always thinks he's the smartest person in the room, so he's a bit smug. And when they make him a wise cracker, like he's not a wise ass, he just thinks he's smarter than everyone.
They tone that down with him in the later movies.
They do. Thank goodness.
I also think in this movie you get maybe just the right amount of people.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
It's interesting. I feel like Marvel, it's like, okay, so you ever loved a baseball team, but then they're in that rebuilding period, where they got to get maybe another shortstop or some new pitching.
Well, it's like an SNL cast. I'm not saying Marvel has not had some misfires, but this one, I think, they're really on the right track.
It feels like there's some course correcting happening, and also just like, okay, they needed to do something to get us on board with these characters. Like they need to endear us to these people so that we care about them for the next however many years they're going to be on screen.
Yeah, I do think they underutilized John Walker and the Ghost character, and I'm curious what their plan is. And the Taskmaster character, I think, was underused as well. And I'm curious what their plan is, going forward. If we're going to continue to root for these people as heroes or anti-heroes, are we going to get sold on them, or do they think the sale's already done?
Yeah, I thought there's also some good supporting work. Julia Louis-Dreyfus just owns this part. She's so good in it. Little bits here and there I thought everybody was well cast and did a good job. I didn't feel like that. There's always that one person comes on screen, you're like, oh God, this guy again. But there wasn't any of that in this film.
I love Lewis Pullman as Bob. I thought he was great. He was a great addition to the rankings. And he's a lot of fun. He's got a great screen presence.
I basically saw this one for work.
Right.
You were enthusiastically seeing it.
I was. I paid for a bus ticket here and that back. You paid for the movie ticket. I paid for the bus ticket here and back, and the popcorn.
Yeah. Well, like our friend Bill Hammond, we actually paid to see this.
Yes. And I'm comfortable with the purchase.
Okay. I feel like is it a see it, stream it, or skip it?
It's a see it. Go see it.
Okay. I would concur with that. If you've been hungry for a good Marvel movie, and you're and it doesn't have a lot of competition right now. In the month of May.
At the end of the month you have Mission Impossible 11.
Right.
But right now, it's probably, Sinners I think is still riding high.
Right. But in terms of action movie extravaganza type stuff.
This is the one.
All right.
This is the one to see.
All right, so this is a see it from us. And that's all for this review. Thanks for joining us once again. And thanks to Eric McClanahan for joining me for the film. Now, you can catch this and more of our content on NoRestOfTheWeekendPodcast.com and our YouTube channel. That's where you'll see these videos first. YouTube.com/GetBehindTheRabbit. For Behind the Rabbit Productions, I'm Jason Godby. Thanks for joining us. See you next time. Is that remotely good? All right.
This is the BTRP Media Network.